question is, did she need to make contact to make that play, even if it was after the disc? And I think that's what the argument is, that though the contact didn't really, it happened after the play, but still she needed to make contact to make that play, and with it, that's still a foul.
Essentially deemed dangerous play because she had to, whatever she did to make the play, her follow through, her body momentum causing contact is still not allowed.
So CUSB Shout able to hold on to it here and come away with that one.
So it'll be Shout's disc in the hands of Nones,
who made that amazing catch earlier right between her legs. Hope we get a replay of that later on.
Scazzieri, Ceschi. Just inside her own half, moves it along, Frangipane. At the midfield mark, back to Ceschi. They're moving it nicely, the CUSB handlers are. Now shot deep, she loves the backhand. That one outside in, Scazzieri gets a hand on it. She thought maybe a foul, gives the Italian body language and says, no, you guys deserve that one. Now Kunzelman wearing the number 23, even though that's not what our score sheets say, to Niederhauser. Forwards again, back to Kunzelman. She winds up, cracks the forehand. Ceschi's there. Simultaneous, I thought, but Ceschi took it stronger, and that's why she was the defensive player of the year. Now the other way, Frangipane, but the wind does the D on that as Kunzelman plays a bit of hacky sack off the bounce. Kunzelman again, Niederhauser. Niederhauser.
We see here both teams not wanting to give short field turnovers. We talked to Coach Derek Gottlieb of the Swiss, and he said that was the most important thing for them in these conditions in this game, to not give short field turnovers and make the other team have to work it through this wind if they're going to want to get a score. As Vior Mayor goes to Niederhauser for the first Swiss score, 2-1.
That's the all-important score. That was the game blown open for me. I think if the Swiss succumbed and conceded that goal there, they were in big trouble. Now it's we got ourselves a game here.
Here we see a nice forward pass up to Vita Mayor, and she's going to get just an easy up the line to Niederhauser.
Nobody even paying any attention to Niederhauser there. She's all alone. Ceschi got caught in the cross cut, and the Swiss keep it interesting.
2-1 here. Again, 50-minute games. If the game is not tied at the end of the cap at 50 minutes, game's over. There's no +1. Game's got to go quick here. There's only 10-minute breaks between games, so.
We got to crank a lot of games in here at Tom's Tourney. We got to get our results, get them all in, get them all out, and then we get a little bit more leeway once we get to our elimination games. There's some continuation if we do have games within one, which we'll explain more when we get there.
But here, if in pool play, if you go down into a bit of a hole, that can be deadly. It can be really hard to come back because you don't have that cap. It's not like, oh, we can always come back, make a run at the end. No, you got to make your run before the time goes off here as Switzerland give a pull. And again,
stays in only just.
Wind is definitely picking up here.
Big time. Bonfante with the disc. Big disc. Scagliarini under, but the defense gets there first. Swatted away. Here come the Swiss ladies.
Lendeman there with the D as Hauser puts the disc in the air. One of the best throwers in the wind in female division.
Dukic, though, throws too far. And the Italians come the other way again. Right at center field. Forwarding pass, Melega. She winds up the backhand every time, and even after the fake, still gives it Scazzieri there. Too high, and the Swiss get another chance.
That's the other Scazzieri. There are two Scazzieris on this team, one generally playing O-line, one generally playing D-line. The first Scazzieri we saw get the bookends on one of the first points in this game.
And that was Sofia.
Then Irene Scazzieri here, not able to come down with it.
And Irene, one of the captains as well, her and Ceschi, the two captains of the CUSB Shout team, as Avdukic, not Avdukic, that is Gutinger with the disc right now. Now to Avdukic wearing the same hats, the Fab Flying Angels hats they've got as we see another turnover go right through Windler. A lot of siblings on this team from the Fab gents that I've covered over the course of last season. I see a lot of similar last names, Cerulli, Windler, but here come the Italians. CUSB Shout, Scazzieri, too far in front. And the Swiss coming again. Gutinger, Hauser, are they also, they've got siblings playing? Swiss coming out of their own end zone here. Lindenman, big one again. We've seen a lot of big shots in this game. They're not afraid to try and get their meters with the big throw, get out of trouble areas in this wind. Takes a lot of confidence to throw the short ones in the wind. Now near the end zone. Bonfante still with the disc, moves it. Borghi over top, just gets it over the shoulder, and continued Melega. She is shaking and baking, pivoting every which way now on the doorstep. Tries to pop it this way, that way. Now Scazzieri again. She's had 3 thrown towards her. I won't say to her, in her direction in this point, but they've all been well too far out in front.
Yeah, that one was certainly not her error. That was definitely a throwing error there. And Switzerland's going to get a chance here as Olivia Hauser goes to pick up the disc. Eurostar player, really good in the wind. That's who you want with the hands on the disc here in these conditions. She calls timeout.
That's a veteran move in itself.
So what do you think so far in this game? You see both teams playing hard. I think Kuzschout definitely have the upper hand. Switzerland having a bit more trouble scoring. This is a Swiss O point, and Kuzschout has had a couple opportunities to score in this point. Definitely looking like CUSB have the upper hand so far.
I'd say all in the legs. Right now they're outrunning them, but it could still be anybody's game right now. They can outrun them, but still lose the benefit of a couple bad bounces, a couple errant throws. And the Swiss are not that outmatched. CUSB looks the better team, but I'm not giving this game away yet. Anything can happen indeed. These Swiss ladies could definitely string a small run together and then just trade. If depending on what this wind does, anything can happen, but advantage CUSB.
Score is 2-1 here in this power pool matchup. Again, in power pools here, the top 3 of each women's power pool go directly to quarterfinals, and then the 4th place of your power pool have to play a pre-quarter against the top of a bottom pool. So you don't want to be in the bottom. You don't want to be in the bottom position of your power pool. If you're in the top 3, you go straight to bracket play.
Every win matters right now. It just makes an easier ride, an easier trip through, and you know, these late tournament games, the easier you can get them, easier. You know, any game, you never know what your opponent may bring, but their results do tell a story. And the easier you can make it to get there, the more likely you'll have the legs to do it in the end.
I would say both of these teams probably have a good shot at making quarters. The question is, which quarter matchup will they get? So if they're in that 1 through 3 region, you don't have to play pre-quarter, but you'll have a tougher quarter the lower you are. So that's what they're really playing for here in this matchup here late on Saturday, day 2 of Tom's Tourney 2019 in Bruges. So Switzerland coming what looks like a bit of a horizontal stack, or actually it's more of a vertical stack in the middle with one isolated player in the lane as Hauser's looking for something upfield.
And they got the isolation they were looking for. Lindenman continues. The defense is there by Diaz, but the completion is too. Back to Hauser, floaty, lots of company, but Lindenman comes down with it, moves it again. Steiner winds up but doesn't give, slows down and checks again, waits for it, cuts into space there, or another continuation to Lehmann. Still trying to pass half here, and they've done it with another contested catch, but they're inside the attacking half of the field. The Swiss ladies working hard, and then an errant throw into turf. High pressure on the mark, not many cuts coming, and that was the result of it.
Florence Windler there with the unforced turf throwaway. She had some great catches under pressure, but that one's going to get away from her as CUSB get another chance for a big break.
Shot deep, Scazzieri under it again. This time it's bang on. She's not quite in the end zone. She's got the continuation from the goal line. Breaks with a backhand, but the cut is nowhere to be seen. And the Swiss do it again. This has been a long one as well. Our last 2 points have been epic tales.
And I do apologize, this wouldn't be a break for Kuzschout. This is actually a hold for Kuzschout. The point has been so long, I forgot who started on O. This is an O point for Kuzschout at the moment with Switzerland playing on D, but Switzerland getting another chance for a break. But They got to work it that whole way up the field, and so far they've got a little bit of good movement going, but eventually CUSB's O-line defense doing a really good job of shutting down options and making sure that they throw to something difficult. Every throw is contested, and eventually they just go into shutdown mode and force a throw like they did in the last possession.
Here they come again, Hauser. Just puts it right away. This is one way to get it past half. Avdukic's trailer is there. She's got it. Moves it straight away. Windler. Middle of the field, inside the opposing brick mark. Assessing options, good defense, but it looked like she had one, but threw right into the defense. The wind playing all sorts of tricks on everybody here.
That's a shame. What a throw from Hauser. That's exactly what we talked about. She can get you out of jail free on those huck in the wind, but all for naught at the moment.
And Diaz with the disc, they may consider hucking themselves. The wind picks up even further, and off the hands of Melega. A huck and D kind of wind right now. Just get it out of here. Messing around in your own end does seem like a bit of messing around as Vindla reaches towards her knees on the inside.
I don't like that option. I mean, that was a very contested throw to a very short amount of space, and then you gave them easy field position.
Yeah,
it's
you
not
might as well
worth it.
might as well just look that one off and chuck deep if otherwise, or wait for something a little bit prettier to develop. That's a nice throw as the wind does slightly die down for a brief moment here. Borghi, Scagliarini, Diaz, sideline, scoring position over into the hands of Irena Scazzieri.
Scazzieri sisters doing a lot of work here for CUSB Shout.
Those two got the legs. They're speedy young ladies. They've got the throws. I feel like Irena Scazzieri does not stop running. We saw her go deep, what, 4, 5 times in that point?
Yeah, this was the last, and this one actually wasn't thrown to her, and she came down with it. So I think that's the key for Irena Scazzieri to score. Don't throw it to her. Throw it to someone else, then she'll come down with it for the score. That's how she prefers to do it.
Yeah, one way or another, there
popping
she is.
it over the intended receiver. She's there to back it up.
Hey, is this what you guys were looking for?
So 3-1 here, the score. Swiss had a lot of chances there, definitely caused a lot of turnovers, but not able to really do that much with it. They had that one possession where they had a very nice big huck to open the field up, but then a little bit of a small mistake again. And again, that last possession they had, throwing a difficult pass a little bit behind your cutter with somebody really right behind them, super tricky pass to throw. I really don't like that option in this wind. You can't give up short field position. You want to make the other team have to work it.
Yeah, you've got to be very, very sure, especially those ones coming back to the disc. If it's not right open on a windy day, it's hard enough to catch an incoming shot when it's thrown hard at you on a still day. When it's windy, you're coming. There's small margin for error and a defender on the hip. Those ones have got to be looked off, and we need to be throwing around into space rather than handcuffing your receivers coming at you. Switzerland now. Nita Hauser. Oh, doesn't like the way that left her hands as it finds a piece of turf to rest on.
Intended there for Lastufka. I don't know if it was a miscommunication or just left her hands the wrong way.
Borghi gets it going now for the Italians. I was going to say I see a huck coming. Now with Chesky, I for sure see it coming. Scazzieri, Scagliarini, the both of them there. Defense can't get there quick enough. Scazzieri to Scagliarini in the end.
And what do you think of Lastufka there? I mean, she tried to get the D, but because she didn't get it, that meant that her woman was completely free after the catch was made. So that's a gamble you have to take sometimes. Looked like she might have had a bid on it, but
it's a tough gamble. We always used to say 90% or nothing. If you're not, you got to be very, very sure.
Here we're going to see again how close you think she actually was. Here the throw goes as a Chesky in the middle. She's going to put this nice inside. It's going to pop up a bit. Looked like Scazzieri was open for miles. Lastufka comes underneath. Oh, that's close enough that I think it might have been worth the gamble.
She might have had a 90% sniff in her head for that one, thinking she was there. I mean, you get it, you're a hero. You don't, you're the GOAT, right? It's a fine line. It's a fine line.
So 4-1 as Italy, CUSB shouts, have another break here. Again, Italy, the EUCF champions right now, although they had a few more pickups back then, and they had their star talisman, Laura Ferralfi, who didn't make her way to Bruges this weekend. But even without her and those pickups, they're still doing very well against national teams, against club teams, against everyone. They're still remaining undefeated so far and still look like they might be the tournament favorites here.
Yeah, this looks like the victory lap for them. They won the big one. They did it with a little bit of help from around the continent. But, you know, Tom's Tourney isn't quite the competition level as EUCF. And they said, you know what, we're going to go do this with our locals, with the girls we train with week in, week out. And so far, it looks like this tournament is theirs to lose. They are the favorites, as you would have seen predicted, of course, by Ravi and Liam in their Eurozone podcast. If you haven't caught it, it's not too late. Tune in and check that one out as Shout CUSB, show some zone here, Ravi.
Yeah, looking pretty good. It's a 1-3-3 look, and Chibi Shamba finds a hole through the zone, and I didn't think they were going to come up with that one.
Chesky's bid looked good, but still in the hands of Hauser. Hauser moves it on, Lendeman, and they're working through the zone well. Vindla to Lendeman, back through, finds some space. Lehman, and again moved on, Avdukic. Shot for goal, and the Swiss are back on the board.
And
that's Lendeman with the goal.
That's the kind of offense I'd like to see. I mean, that first pop through that Shamba put, we thought was a bit questionable. They came up with it, they made the play. After that, they just kept moving the disc, Didn't hold on to it for more than stall two. Found holes, found dumps, found another hole, just kept powering through aggressively and made it look easy by the end of it.
An interesting move to go zone there. It seemed like the match defense was working quite well for CUSB Shout.
I mean, you got to think in these short games, though, if you're already up by a couple, then if you make the points longer, which zone can often do, that just makes it so there's less time for the team to come back. So that might be what they're thinking right there.
And I do love a zone on a windy day. It's, you know, that inclement weather is your eighth defender. But I feel like the wind just stopped for the 30 seconds that that point took. It was just not helping CUSB Shout the way they thought it may have.
4-2 here. Swiss are still going to have to manage to get some breaks on the board if they want to come back. They haven't been able to so far. CUSB Shout's O-line has been perfect. I mean, perfect in terms of points, not perfect in terms of each possession, but so far, Switzerland unable to get a break yet on this CUSB Shout O-line.
And as I mentioned, the drop in the wind, it picks right back up by the time CUSB Shout get their hands on it. Borgi with the disc, and looky, another zone out of the Swiss now. So both teams looking to change it up. Swiss surely not to kill the clock, but they're trying to get themselves some turns. And so far, early in the possession, looks to have slowed down the Italians just enough. Let's see how it continues. Borghi moves to Bonfante. Now shot comes up and the receiver is there. Melega to end zone. Scazzieri. The Italians take their time in their own end. Back and forth and around that zone, and then the big shot breaks half, and from there it was easy.
I think Shout. I think Switzerland was playing good on their zone. You see here, playing this 1-3-3. And then the wings, I think, just thought at that point that in these windy conditions, they're not going to throw it that long. Come on. Shout's got some great throwers on them. And you see there, Greta Melega to Arina Scazzieri, two of their really top players making big plays when it counts, scoring it easy there.
Yeah, Scazzieri, again, she's definitely putting her imprint on this game. Irena, specifically in the last few points, she has been everywhere.
We do see, I think, Greta Melega crossing over to the D-line for this point, as maybe Chesky is not coming out. She is coming in
taking
as well.
her jacket off.
So 5-2 here, the score, as Shout continue their lead. Again, Switzerland looking a bit better in that last possession, but they're going to have to get breaks if they want to come back and win.
Big outside in roller out of Melega that gets kicked down and picked up by Avdukic. Lendeman, Avdukic.
And CUSB Shout going back into their 1-3-3 set again.
Hauser, Lendeman. Look, working well. Beat the zone neatly up until half as Lehman gets it and back to Hauser. Far sideline. Hauser looking good. This Swiss team here, will the zone melt or will they hold in the short field? Almost a finger on it there, Ravi Lehmann. Shot to zone. Windler throws her body on the line, but comes up with nothing but a chest full of grass.
That was unexpected from me. Windler is generally a player to make those types of catches. I didn't even think she needed to lay out for that one by the looks of the throw, but somehow she read that she needed to.
Yeah, it was just out in front enough. Not the perfect throw. Still could have been caught. Italia Bologna's CUSB shout. And a stall out on the goal line.
Team defense winning it there, shutting down every option there were the Swiss.
Almost as good as a Callahan as the rain comes back down. Hauser gets the disc. Power position. No mark on still. Goes around but not around and in now. Lehmann back over to 22 with the disc. On the doorstep still. Lenderman, are we going to see another stall out? I sure hope not.
I think she got bailed out by a foul call there. I think the number 3 shirt on Bologna ran behind her and might have made some contact, so the stall will probably come back down to 0 now.
Lenderman, disc is in. Scagliarini on the mark. Looks for the around. No call, which I'm surprised about. I didn't think that was as clean as they're running off the other way. Here come Chesky and CUSB shout. Melega gets it going to ground. Melega back to Chesky. Chesky waiting for options.
We'll see the Chesky-Hauser matchup. I think that's one that CUSB can exploit, while Hauser's a great thrower and a great offensive player. I think Chesky definitely has her on athleticism. So far, Chesky staying in the handler space, which I think is playing into exactly what Hauser wants her to do. We see the big pass up there to Chesky.
Very floaty, but got away with it. Chesky now to end zone. Receiver is there for the goal. Bangotti cashes in 6-2. But we've got a call on the field. Celebrations should stop.
That throw left me speechless. The wind picked up right when she threw it as well, and that was a blade against the wind in a way, because the wind's coming again.
Chesky
Pushing that disc away, and Chesky put that into space perfectly for the reception.
fearless with her big throws. We've seen her throw every angle. We've seen the outside in backhand. We've seen the inside out backhand. We've now seen the outside in forehand. All we have not seen is her inside-out forehand. Will that come over the course of the game to round out the throwing cycle? For now, Frangipane to Chesky, Frangipane again. Melega, Frangipane. They are really moving it towards the end zone. Melega now fakes the forehand, looks back to center. Scagliarini comes in, looked off Chesky. Chesky looks up line. Hauser settles in on the mark. Melega, Chesky. Now shot for goal, not quite over the head of Scagliarini. Swiss going the other way on the same foot. Here they come. Shot goes deep. Chesky there cleans it up. Scagliarini, Chesky, and she winds up, and Windler comes in for the would-be foul.
Chesky not happy about that one. She had a shot ready, and she's saying, "No, you got to get behind me."
If you're gonna slow me down like that, at least get back in your position. But the Italians really have all the momentum in this multi-turn point right now, whether they're playing D or with disc in hand. They look the goods in the point we're watching.
I mean, I did like when Schambach caught that D. She tried moving the disc immediately, was trying to get a fast break, but that big throw to Windler just right into Chesky's hand. So
it was. They looked good the first 2 throws after the turn. It was nice to see the turn in the end zone and no hesitation come the other way, but it caught up to them 2 throws later.
So now more discussion, more delays. That plays into CUSB Shout's favor. They have a 3-point lead, and they have the disc with them. They can extend this as long as possible, and the game's going to end before you know it.
They love a ticking clock right now.
34 minutes into the game. Again, it's only 50 minutes total. 15 minutes really left.
Frangipane to Chesky. Chesky, Frangipane, and Melega handling on this line, demanding the disc, getting lots of touches, and do it effectively. Now Scagliarini gets into the mix and uses her elbows to catch that. Squeezing it into the body. Now she looks the around and now waiting for Chesky coming under in the open side. Chesky immediately to Melega. She's in the back of the end zone in the corner for a goal. CUSB cash in for another one and take the point that they looked to have from the beginning. As a man goes down crossing the field, I'm not sure we got that on video, but it could have been worthy if we did.
6-2 the score now, and I don't know what happened to the Swiss defense. They just looked like they were just standing there, completely letting Meliga go deep and get an easy score.
A lot of holes in that defense, kind of like Swiss cheese.
Just very, very quick, and like you said, the movement of Meliga and Frangipani and Ceschi just completely unstoppable there as the three of them just weaving through that Swiss defense.
Yeah, they did involve the cutters for sure. They were there. Scagliarini specifically got a handful of touches. No looking off, no nothing, but in the small field, the three of them really did the reset game seamlessly until the score came finding them.
Frangipani is on the field right now talking to a Swiss defender that seems to be not happy about something that happened in the game. I don't know if you can get the camera on that shot. They're still really just in the middle of the field while the play's going on.
Now they're coming off. They had a nice chat. And that's what it's all about here. We all want to come off with smiles on our faces, come to some understandings. That's the beautiful thing about our sport. It's how happy we all are to be playing it and to be playing it with so many other wonderful people. Swiss kick their disc down. Nita Hauser picks it up. She's calling hand signals. She wants somebody under. She's all by herself with a four-person zone right in front of her. That's a very difficult one to throw from. Kunzelmann, Nita Hauser. Nita Hauser looking at that zone again, and it's a menacing face of the zone. Nita Hauser getting every second touch, but that one is thrown right into the swiping hand of Bonfante as the front of the zone generates the turn.
Bonfante, typically an offensive line player, but now that they're on a roll of breaks, they're throwing more O-line people out onto this point right now.
Sofia Scazzieri, safe hands. Well, she was looking for the Scazzieri to Scazzieri, but Kunzelmann gets in the way. She puts it deep. Nita Hauser chasing. Oh, not quite there. Can't throw the body. It was a bit too high, a bit too far outside.
When that went up, I thought it was too far. Then I saw Nita Hauser's run. I thought she was going to get to it, but then it just popped a little bit down in the wind. That blade just too far for Nita Hauser.
She did put the jets on. She did put it into fifth gear there, but still, she was looking for a sixth, I suppose.
She was going for it. Look at this run down. At some point, it looked like she was just about to get it, but then just at the last second, she couldn't hold on.
Yeah, the angle was just a little bit off as well with the disc charging down to the ground with the outside in angle. And another D, La Stufka gets in the way, and now the Swiss have a look at a score. La Stufka over the top, over the shoulder pop pass for the goal, Cerule, and the Swiss are on the board. The scoreboard being changed by Wiederker, who has been out. The teammates wanted a little shout out for her. She hurt herself yesterday in pool play action. They will miss her, they said dearly. She's one of their contributors, and we're all hoping for a very quick recovery for her. But the Swiss answering when they need to, Ravi.
Yeah, I think that was very good play by La Stufka to come back and stay in this game. It's really easy, you know, when you're down by a few points against a really good opponent, you just kind of let it happen and be like, all right, and give up, just worry about the next game. But they're really fighting. They're still firing into it. What I do want to say, though, on the fast break on the previous possession that the Swiss had, to me that does talk. I did like the option. I did like the shot, but the way they threw it, kind of a bit rushed, to me shows a little bit of lack of confidence against this Italian defense. They've shown that when Italian defense can lock down, that they have trouble, and because of that, they want to fast break immediately. But if you're not able, if you don't think you can kind of work it through that defense, then and you force and rush that fast break, which is what I think I've seen the Swiss do a few times, that's gonna cause trouble, and that just shows you what a great defense can do. It gets inside the heads of the offense of the opposing team. And
we all know now, a lot of teams mental game training, that is the buzzword, but it's very legitimate. It is a huge part of our game, having the confidence to do those things we do in training every day, but to do them in high pressure situations, they become a lot more difficult. And the better you feel about yourself, the more easy those easy things are to come off. So The mental game playing a huge role here, and CUSB shout with a lot of that mental edge right now as Diaz gets the disc back after some handy play in their own end. Now a shot to end. Plaganica with the disc fakes the backhand, 2 meters out, now dumps. Bonfante, crossfield Borghi. She wants to break, she does to Diaz, and she's handy with her toes, keeps him on the other side of the line, and Shout score a relatively easy point.
Bonfante there throughout that whole point was really impressing me with her just ability to just rock through that cup. I mean, she was not phased at all. She just got every other, then eventually got things going. And then what about that twinkle toes from Diaz there on that last point? Just, she knew she had the space. She could have caught it and attacked it, but she kind of just twinkled it into the end zone.
Maybe a ballet dancer in a previous life.
But sometimes if you know, you think you're all alone and then someone comes through and D's that, then like you said, can bite you.
Oh yeah, you can feel really ordinary when you're trying to get an extra 30 centimeters and it costs you a turnover.
But this time works out for Diaz, the Colombian playing with this Italian CUSB team.
And she's been there for a while now. I think she's clearly living in Italy and part of the club because it's been a good year at least, possibly more, that Diaz has been contributing to the CUSB program.
She is a 2016 World Ultimate Guts Championship silver medalist playing with the Colombian national team, though, getting a silver medal there as Colombia is starting to shock the world on the women's side. But here playing with her Italian club as they are in a commanding position with a 7-3 lead against the Swiss.
Nita Hauser to Kunzelman. And this zone is really throwing the Swiss ladies some curveballs. Not sure what to do with it. They really don't seem to have many answers, but as I said that, they get a little bit of movement going. Nita Hauser to Kunzelman. Cirule. Ooh, floaty. Is the defense going to get there first? No, they won't. Lundsman moves it again. Nita Hauser. That zone staying tight and in front, but Kunzelman can't get it to Cirule.
That's that classic backhand to the forehand side.
Exactly.
It can work out, it can look really good, but sometimes you don't get enough on it, and if she had a little more space away from her defender, flowing a flick on that one, maybe it would have helped out.
Yeah, a bit slower of a release, of course, to turn it to that flick side, but usually you get yourself a nicer mechanical throw to come out. Oh, Chesky helps out their thrower there and handles a tough one as she moves it to Melega. Melega on the far sideline. In the attacking zone, Borghi gets it beyond a bid. Frangipane, that one was auspiciously close to the grass, but they stay up. Borghi gets it again inside the brick mark. Shot for goal, but nobody cutting to the spot, and it's a turnover.
I think Melega was moving and she just stopped her cut right as that throw went up, so just a bit of miscommunication there from the Shout players, but still really good offense up until that point, especially that low grab and getting that from a bidding Vero Mayor at one point. Great stuff from the Italians so far, just a little bit of miscue.
Cirule gets it in her own end zone. Kunzelman on the doorstep. Cirule, Kunzelman. Oh, and Kunzelman loses her footing on a bit of a mud patch in the middle there. She gets it again. Dumps. Gets it back from Lundsman. Kunzelman, Lundsman, Cirule again. Slowly chipping away at this zone, and I think for the duration of this point, they can probably keep getting away with these short throws if they move the way they are. As Nita Hauser gets it, now she gets a gainer. All sorts of space upfield. Now they're in striking position, and as they strike, the hand of Borghi goes up and then kept alive. Pancotti hits the turf.
Second big grab by Pancotti so far at this point.
Pancotti again. She gets it from Chesky. Oh, throws into a small space to Frangipane. Chesky again. Nearing midfield. Pivoting this way and that one gets away as a gust of wind helps the defense.
I think that's one where when she started the throwing motion, the wind wasn't there, and by the time left her hands it was, and just your brain doesn't have time to adapt. I've been caught in that one many times before.
Haven't we all? Haven't we all? That there's not much you can do about that one, really. And Kunzelman goes down to throw that low backhand again. She loves it, but then the return throw goes behind her. Chesky's she's gonna look to score, or I thought she would have.
And here's the short field turnover that Switzerland didn't want. This is the turns they had down near their attacking end zone's okay, but now they're giving CUSB an easy chance for a score to extend their lead to 8-3.
Pick called as Chesky's got the disc.
Got to avoid those short field turnovers. And they were doing really well moving through the zone with short passes in the first few possessions of this point.
Chesky goes around. Defensive help is there.
Vera Mayor with the D grab. Geneve player. Played with her last year at the World Ultimate Club Championships.
Gunselman, Cirule playing in their own end zone. Zone set very quickly in transition by Schout. Far side re-centered. Kunzelman puts a beautiful looking backhand, hard contact as Scazzieri tries to cut down the angle and goes into Lastuvka hard. I can only imagine it's going to be an uncontested foul.
That's definitely
but beyond that, we just hope she's okay.
Yeah, this would be a big miss if she's not going to be able to play in this game. Lastuvka making a lot of big contributions so far this tournament. That was a bit of caught a little bit blindsided there by Scazzieri. I think Scazzieri Lastuvka was one of those where you're just following the disc, you don't know someone else is there.
Yeah, she's, I mean, there's nothing malicious about that at all. She took a step towards the disc, and by the time she was getting the D, she was making the contact. It was a bit of dangerous play. We see the hand signals saying that it is a uncontested foul.
Uncontested foul injury, all the hand signals.
We get them all. It's,
I really appreciate that. Lastuvka, even after you get cleaned up like that, you're helping the commentators and all your teammates out with the hand signals.
Yep.
I love the hand signals.
Yeah, Ruben Berg, a good friend of mine, good friend of everybody in the Ultimate community, was pivotal in creating those hand signals. And
I think people laughed him off they laughed them off in the first couple of years. I
think I was part of the laughing committee when they first happened. As everything new, there's a lot of speculators. People speculative of new stuff, but now that it is in action, they're great for the game as that shot to end zone sails out the back.
That's Olivia Hauser that's subbed in for Lastuvka. A good thrower there, but there just a bit too much on her backhand into that wind. As we see, it's going to get pulled down.
But they're playing defense now in the right half of the field, where they want to be.
That's correct, but at this stage in the game, if you want to come back into it, you can't be giving turnovers.
No, playing defense as a strategy from disc in hand is not what you want.
And especially this one that rolls out the end zone's giving CUSB a lot of time to melt down that clock as we're now 48 minutes in, so this will likely be the last point, or maybe we'll get one more depending on how quick this one goes.
It's all over but the crying, if you ask me, Ravi. You don't even have to ask me. You can ask anyone.
Pretty much mathematically impossible for Switzerland to come back, but we'll see if they can still get a fight in them, as we've seen in other games, even when the game's over.
Frangipane, Chesky, two of them with all sorts of room as the defense hustles to cover the big downfields. Oh, over the hand, second effort, but she had feet on the chalk anyway, so wouldn't have counted. Cerule picks it up. She is a big target who hasn't been able to be used too effectively against this super fast CUSB team. Kunzelman jacks it deep. Hauser in the end zone, way too far in front.
Wow, I mean, Hauser just couldn't get there. Nice space on that throw, nice space. In less windy conditions, that might have worked out pretty well, but Hauser just didn't have the speed for that one.
Just a bit much to ask of Capitaine.
So now, Frangipane to pick up the disc in what will likely be the last point as we see the clock melting faster and faster and faster towards that 50-minute mark.
And here comes Schout, Frangipane, Pancotti, upfield to Scazzieri. Sofia Scazzieri engages everyone, their three CUSB Schout members for the around as Chesky gets it, nearing half field, now crosses half field. Melega, surveying options. Goes back to center. Chesky falls down, almost lays out.
And we hear there the time is over jingle, so this will indeed be the last point as CUSB march it down with Meliga attacking Brickmark right now.
And she dumps back to Borgi. MGMT playing in the background as the jingle, and Kunzelman says, this is not over yet, not on my watch, or maybe it is on my watch as she throws it too far in front.
Can't find Hauser there on that play as Borgi decides not to pick up the disc. Oh no, she goes for it.
Borgi wants it, and now this is the never-ending game. Borgi, Meliga, shot deep, Scazzieri is there, too far in front.
The wind getting a piece of that one as well. If that stayed a bit flatter, a bit longer, she definitely would have had it. Sofia Scazzieri there, getting the first point on bookends with a D and a score, not able to finish it up. Would have been nice for her to cap off the game and start it up.
Everybody wants to get the game-winning goal, even when it doesn't necessarily, I mean, the game's already won. Let's say the game-ending goal.
So Hauser here, walking, picking up the disc. CUSB Shout putting up a zone. Chesky trying to marshal defense.
All sorts of crazy results in this tournament. We saw the Swiss really beat up the French women.
Yes.
And I liked the looks of the French early in this tournament, but they seem to have been coming undone a little bit. And we saw them in the first part of their game against CUSB Shout, probably played a more competitive game against them for 10 points, for 12 points. And then CUSB took care of them as well. But to see CUSB really taking care of the Swiss in a low-scoring affair and a defensive affair where the wind was over it is just really showing the strength of this Bologna squad. Kunzelman dumps to Hauser.
So far it's been 3 or 4 or 5 passes and they haven't moved the disc forward at all.
Nita Hauser now winds up her backhand. She throws a good backhand, as does Hauser. The Nita Hauser connection around upfield, over the head of Lundsman it was. And again, Shout with the opportunity.
Coming up next on the stream, we're going to have the CUSB Red Bulls versus the Belgium Open team. Get Liam Grant and Stefan Rapazzo on the call for that one, so stay tuned for that one.
Excited, it'll be my first call with Liam Grant, the Irishman that I've only known by the wonderful sounds of his singing Irish voice until this weekend. Now I can put a face to the name, to the sound of his Irish voice, and I'm excited to cover the next game with him. I've just put together, Ravi, today in our fourth game, or our third game of coverage, we've seen CUSB La Fota, CUSB Shout, and we're going to see CUSB Red Bulls next. Bologna
shows you how much Bologna is doing in that city. It's an incredible
stealing
amount
the
of
highlight, the limelight here at Tom's Tourney. Let's see. It's more important to steal that limelight on Sunday, though. So let's see what happens with all of them then. Chesky moves again. Shot deep. Scazzieri, Pancotti, everybody in the area, but the disc is not in the same area. And the point continues. The marathon ending point. Kunzelman.
See CUSB keeping this zone on. It's been very effective. Switzerland have, to their credit, usually been able to break through it, but it's after they break through it that they're messing up that play. Here, the big pass.
Great hands, Cirulle. She puts it deep. Oh, and it looked like it was staying up, and it dropped quick.
Vita Mayor not able to read that one.
I mean, I think it was the throw. She did the best she could do. She went down, but the throw looked good for a second, and the wind just pushed it straight down. I think her initial read, the way it looked like it was coming, she may have believed to have had a bid, but that all changed over the course of the flight path.
Again, what I said, they break through the zone. It's the throw after they break through. They get a little nervous. They don't want the zone to come back. They don't want the defense to set because they know how hard this CUSB Shout defense is. Rush the throw just a hair.
Ooh, defense is coming, but Scazzieri bodies out well. She didn't give up too much space. Chesky now, a great high take from Chesky.
Great fake too there. That was it sold me. I thought that was going.
Yeah, I think the defense coming behind her made her change her mind. Borghi gets it in the middle from Frangipane and back to Frangipane. Now she throws to goal, but Cerule is not her teammate, and the longest point ever continues. Nita Hauser.
Still want to finish this game, Stefan.
No, they love the sound of our voice. They want more for their hearing pleasure to listen to afterwards. And they want to give more to you at home as Nita Hauser hits the ground but can't hold on to the disc.
They just want to keep Liam Grant off the call. That's what they're doing.
No way that's the case. They want his lovely Irish voice taking over the feed as we all get to share and give you this wonderful coverage at Tom's Tourney. Multi-TV giving it to you. Each tournament all over the world, Australia, Asia, Europe, they're doing it all. Now Frangipane, now Ceschi, now Scazzieri all alone. The disc looks like it's gonna get there. They've done it, ladies and gentlemen. That is the end of a game and the end of a marathon. Final point. CUSB, shout, put away. Switzerland national ladies team and continue their undefeated run here at Tom's Tourney. I think we're going to wrap things up nice and quickly. It's been a pleasure to be joined with Ravi Vasudevan. I'm Stefan Rapazzo. We will see you very shortly. Make sure you refresh your feed. Click on to the next Tom's Tourney game. It's Red Bulls against Belgium Open. Myself and Liam Grant on the call. Have yourself a wonderful day from wherever you are.